Welcome back to another episode of my Halloween special, this time with my best friend, Noah Womack, aka The Dark Knight. Or Baba Yaga, or as he so likes to be called, because he's a massive John Wick fan, as well as I am. But tonight, we're going to be reviewing Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. And we watched the movie from beginning to end in preparation for this review. And he hasn't watched the movie before, and I was like, dude, you need to watch this movie.
And I agree, that was my first time seeing the movie. I thought it was, at first I thought really low of the movie, because I hadn't seen it. But, never judge a book by its cover, or in this case, never judge a movie by its cover.
Yeah, because, when you watch a movie that's black and white, and it's an old movie and everything, you expect it to suck and everything. But this movie has remained timeless, and directed by Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense of all people.
Exactly.
Yeah, and this, he does know how to build suspense, especially when it comes to this film. This movie is shot beautifully, and and the everything about it, from the performances, the score, everything is just, it's perfect. It's gold.
The movie has a lot of suspense. It's very suspenseful. You can keep yourself guessing, which is what I like about a good suspenseful movie. Mystery, stuff like that. If you're into the good, mystery books, this is definitely a movie that you have to invest in watching. And the storyline is great. The dialogue's great in the movie. Just for an old time movie, it's really good. It's really good. It's got a good everything. Really, I didn't have any problems with it.
Yeah, and just a warning, guys, for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, this will contain spoilers. So if you have not seen the movie, I implore you, watch it. It is worth your time. So it starts off with this woman.
Well, I'm going to stop you there. If you haven't seen the movie and you don't want spoilers, click out of this video. Just so you know, there will be spoilers.
You have been warned. Live or die. Make your choice. I'm sorry. I just had a little something there.
The Saw trilogy is pretty suspenseful too.
Yeah, it does have its moments, even though it's just gore and everything. But anyway, so this movie starts off with our main character, or so it appears to be for the first half of the movie. Marion Crane, played by Janet Leigh, who is also, just in case nobody knows, is actually Jamie Lee Curtis's mother. Yeah.
Which I was shocked when he told me that. I was like, dang!
Yeah. So she's technically, she's now engaged to this one guy, and while working one day, she steals $40,000 from this other guy, and she's also skipping town. And the entire scene alone, while she's driving away and she's hearing voices in her head, it was pretty well handled. What did you think about the entire scene with her just driving by and she hearing all the voices in her head?
At first, when I saw that, the observations I made is the fact that she was possibly on the brink of losing her mind. A little madness here and there.
Yeah.
It seems like with multiple solutions and multiple problems that are occurring at the same time, it seems like that would get to one's head. And that was affecting her because in one of the scenes she was driving, she was smiling.
Yeah.
As the problems were building up.
Yeah, and she was even followed by a cop.
Exactly, and they made it very stressful, but yet she handled it.
Yeah.
She handled it pretty well.
Yeah, especially when she falls asleep on the side of the road, and and the cops pulling over, and she's trying to drop off because she says that she's in a hurry and everything, and he's suspicious of her and everything, but he doesn't really know what the situation is.
Of course. And the only bad the only bad review I have about this movie is the fact that when she fell asleep at the wheel, like she just woke up and the car was absolutely fine and she was parked perfectly next to a telephone pole.
Hmm. I mean, I didn't notice that, but I mean,
Hmm.
yeah. But one night while she's like driving, like she's still driving, and one night while it was raining, she happens to drop off by Bates Motel.
Notorious
Hmm.
Bates Motel.
Yeah, and she meets uh, Norman Bates, played by Anthony Perkins, and he gives a really great performance, I would have to say, and I think that this is one of his best roles. Rest in peace. And the one scene alone where they're in the back in that back room and they're eating dinner and their dialogue. I mean, especially the one scene where I mean the one while they're talking and he says that well first she asks him if she ever goes out with I mean if Norman goes out with any friends and he says well a boy's best friend is his mother because I mean you can hear him like supposedly like arguing with his mother because uh, at first when you see this character you start to like feel sorry for him because of what he's going through because of this controlling woman and she's well we don't know too much about the mother really.
Exactly. And I think as an actor, he did a very, very good job of taking on his role and other roles in the movie. And that will be further discussed as we go along.
Yeah, and we cannot continue with this review without mentioning the shower scene. And I know this scene has been talked about to death, but I'm gonna go with it because that scene alone was shot beautifully, and the music that they used for I mean for that one scene alone was I mean it made everything so suspenseful and it just made you like freeze.
All throughout the movie, it's definitely seen that it paints a picture in your mind. You're not just watching a movie and you're like, oh, I already know what's going to happen, or oh, this is going to happen. No. This movie is different. It's almost like a painting, really. You have to study it. It makes you study. It makes you question yourself. It makes you question the movie. It's great. You just have to pay attention.
Yeah, and while they were filming the movie, I mean they had to use uh, like syrup or something for blood because I mean this movie was black and white and they didn't have like fake blood at the time, so they had to like stick with like syrup and stuff like that. But I think it really holds up really well. I mean, especially for a black and white movie.
Of course. It ran with the water. It looked like blood.
Yeah,
Their effects were pretty good for an old movie like that. And if mystery is your genre that you prefer,
it is a good mystery. I would have to admit.
this definitely has a lot of mystery in it. Let me just tell you that.
Definitely does. The so after all that happens after like Marianne is killed, um, Norman I mean he's freaking out and he's just cleaning up the mess and just like clearing up the scene of the crime and I mean just you get this I mean you see this look of fear in his eyes and you see I mean because he's terrified of what his mother is capable of, or so that we think. Because I mean, like I said, once you, I mean, while you're watching the movie, you like, I mean, you start to like care for him and everything. And I mean, especially with, I mean, with this character, like, I mean, you see that he's how terrified of, I mean, how terrified he is of his mother, and but at the same time, he's like, I mean, he does still care for her and would do anything to protect her, even like covering up a murder.
And in the fact that he runs a motel almost in the middle of nowhere by himself. So that could get to a person's head.
Yeah, and he even goes so far as to like dump the body in the trunk of a car, and then just drive the car into a swamp. So, yeah. So a private investigator decides to like swoop in on this, and then goes over to the motel and just questions everything. And he sees a silhouette of his mother, and I mean, this movie just keeps you guessing and guessing about like what's going on, and that's one of the few things I like most about this movie.
That's the few things I like about mystery movies, is it keeps you guessing, so you don't have to predict. And even when you do predict, you're wrong. So you you just have to keep guessing.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I love about this movie. It's great. It keeps you on the storyline. It's great.
Oh, definitely. Uh, and I thought and that his death was pretty well handled because I mean, the one shot of him just going up the stairs, and then we see the mother just stab him with a knife. I mean, she comes out of the room and just stabs him, and then he's falling back down the stairs. Yeah, and the music was playing again. Oh, um, so so Marion's sister. I mean, she's of course worried about her, and does I mean, and they like question the sheriff about the disappearance of like both Marion and the detective, and because the detective said that he saw like Bates' mother and everything, and the sheriff said that like his mother has been dead for 10 years, and which makes us question like what's going on even further, because he said that Norman's mother poisoned one guy and also poisoned herself.
And that's I think it's really good too that they stuck with the evidence line.
Mm.
You know, like they just, oh, someone got murdered and then another person got murdered, so we're just not going to pay attention to it. They stuck to it. It was
Yeah,
like, oh wow, so someone went to that motel, and then a private investigator got sent, and then he got murdered. Then they still stuck to it. They didn't. Oh wow, oh what happened to him? No, they stuck to it. That's intelligent.
yeah, um, and the thing is why didn't I mean shouldn't they already be questioning about? I mean, I like that they're questioning about like if his mother is like in the house, then who is buried. I like that it just keeps us guessing. I mean, is she not dead? Did she fake her death or something? We don't know. I mean, I like that it just keeps us guessing and guessing at everything, and it's just so. I mean, I like that. It's You're right. This is a good mystery.
It really is, and I was not suspecting that at first. I just thought it was going to be one of those average movies where you watch it and you can guess everything, and you can be accurate.
But no.
But you're wrong in the movie. Like you'd be surprised when you watch this film, or if you watch this film. I think that personally, it's an opinion. You should get the time, or when you get the time, you should watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Psycho.
Definitely. And when it comes to the ending, you do not expect the twist at all, which we'll get to in a second. So the sister and the fiance get to the motel, and uh, while the fiance is distracting Norman, Marion's sister, she goes into the house and starts looking for the mother. Of course, Norman is freaked out about this and just goes into the house. While she's looking in the fruit cellar, that's when the big twist is revealed. Once she turns the body around, it turns out to be a rotting corpse.
A corpse.
Yeah, and that's the one thing you do not see coming. Of course, she's screaming and freaking out and everything, and
it reminds me of that one scene in The Ring when she finds her in the bathroom, turns her around, she like her mouth is open and stuff. Head falls off. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Reminds me of that scene.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen The Ring. So Norman pops out in his mother's clothing, and it turns out that Norman is actually the killer. And I like that how they built up to this.
And that brings me to my other point that I mentioned, that he played one of his roles right. He played two of them in one movie. He played his mother and himself.
Yeah, and of course Norman is like capturing and everything, and I like that how the psychiatrist is explaining everything that's been happening to Norman because. I mean, he said that he was already disturbed ever since his father died, and how his mother was like a clinging, demanding woman, and they lived as though there was no one else in the world. But then she met a man. But Norman felt that she left him for this man, and that pushed him over the line. So he killed them both.
Exactly, like that. For the actor to play such roles as a deranged psycho woman, that takes a lot of practice. It takes skill, pure skill, not just a whim out of luck. That's skill right there.
Yeah.
Let's just say that the movie Psycho is crazy.
It definitely is, and the one scene at the end of the movie where they show like the woman's voice. I mean, they show Norman with him hearing his mother's voice in his head. That scene alone was so great, and we see the fly on his hand, and the voice is like, "I'm not even gonna swat that fly. I hope they are watching. They'll see, and they'll know, and they'll say, why she wouldn't even harm a fly."
And this was at the end of the movie, and that basically, like, you could see how much was built up into the character. Like, it took time to develop such a character. And that's what I like about a movie is a good actor, a good storyline, and good suspense.
Exactly.
Of course, for a mystery movie.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, Alfred Hitchcock, he knew how to build suspense. I mean, like I said, they don't call him the master of suspense for nothing. Overall, this is a really, really great movie, and I honestly have no problems with it. So, without a doubt, I'm gonna give Psycho an A+.
I'm gonna give Psycho an B+.
A B+.
B+.
Why's that?
Oh, well, because, I mean, the storyline was great and all that. The music was astonishing. But, it's one of the old movies. It's like the effects for murder and stuff. They're like, if someone were to watch that and, like, a kid of our generation, or of a much younger generation, would look at this movie and be like, oh, wow, those effects are crap. But we, on the other hand, have more diversity when it comes to these movies.
Yeah, because we like to look at the movie and just try to look for flaws and see what works and see what doesn't. This movie works so well.
Exactly, and it's not about how the movie looks. It's what the movie is about. It's what it portrays in your mind. It's about the journey that movie is allowing you to be on.
Yeah, I guess that does make a point. So guys, this was a whole lot of fun. I'm looking forward to doing more reviews really, really soon, and I'm so excited to see the new Halloween in theaters tomorrow. So yeah, I'll definitely looking forward to reviewing that one. And thank you so much for reviewing this with me, man. And as always, feel free to check out my videos and be sure to subscribe for more content. And until next time, peace out and have a really fun October and a very scary Halloween.